Mm.
Okay, this is pretty cool. Speaking of opportunistic people and women in general, uh, this was a pretty good piece of content. So, NBA player Jalen Williams, he plays for the Thunder. Um, he was on what's the name of this show? He was on
Um,
the Don't Trip show. Don't Trip, We Got You. And so they basically asked him about like what do you deal with when it comes to women as an NBA player and stuff like that? And do you get caught up or do you know of any situations of other players getting caught up when it comes to women, being that you are living that NBA lifestyle? So this is actually somewhat related to both the Dwayne Wade topics as well as the topic that we just discussed with Usher. So uh, check this out. Let us know what y'all think about this one as well. But this is what Jalen Williams had to say when asked about this particular subject.
Have you dealt with any crazy scenarios with like women or anything in the NBA?
Me personally, no. I try and stay out the mix as far as like
As you
girls
should.
during the season. I've seen some stuff just in general. Like I know girls be like hanging out in the hallways and hotel rooms all the time and kind of do that just to see like who they can kind of get to like come upstairs
They
with.
just be chilling there.
Mhm. Yeah, like they like know your schedule and stuff, and you always get like the random DMs like fly me out,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, so
like what do you
does it
like?
work though? I feel like some of the girls it works. Oh,
You
that's
guys see
crazy.
the Twitter. You guys have
That's
Twitter. You guys see,
crazy.
you guys
That's
definitely see it. But like
crazy.
that's the trap that I think a lot of like especially younger like guys kind of fall into.
Yeah.
Now it's like you got girls 2 a.m., 3 a.m. You're already tired, like you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
You just played it back to back. You might have had it. They'll wait for you to have a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Then they'll be at your hotel room, and now oh, like, take me upstairs. Let's go out to eat. Blah blah blah.
It's insane.
Now there's been all kinds of stuff. People get their wallets and stuff stolen, or go take a picture in your sleep. So kind of always got to be
You got
careful
to
in
be
that regard.
mad
Like
safe.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. Sophisticated shark bait. That's what I call it.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah, so as y'all can see here, man, and look, this isn't the first time that we have heard anything like this. Um, I'll go ahead and say what I got to say on this one real quick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There have been other documentaries. I think that this was a section or a segment on the Last Dance, the Jordan documentary, very briefly, where they talked about how the women would be waiting in the hotel lobby. So for anyone who is unaware of how sophisticated this has become for a lot of women who live like this, okay, women scout
That's right.
schedules of NBA rosters.
That's right.
So they know when a team is going to be in your city. Okay. And when they know that that team is going to be in their city, they find out where the team hotel is. And then they end up going to the hotel and seeing what they can catch. Literally, that's what a lot of these women do. Now, these days, it's become a lot more sophisticated because, you've got direct direct communication on the phones, like he mentioned with like DMing and stuff like that. These chicks just come straight out like, "Hey man, fly me out." So as you can see, this modern day sexual place has been proliferated to epic degrees, and I personally believe that these women target on
Mm-hmm.
purpose
Mm-hmm.
NBA players and NFL players specifically,
Mm-hmm.
because for whatever reason, and I have my theories on why this is the case, but for whatever reason, basketball players and football players are more likely than not to entertain women who do stuff like this for whatever reason. You could point to the youth. You can point to, I personally base a lot of this on socioeconomics, me personally. But whatever reasoning you think that this is going on, the fact of the matter is, I think that these women on purpose target NBA and NFL players more than any other type of athlete because they are the biggest and easiest marks. And they've become very sophisticated with their game. And to relate it back to the previous topic that we discussed, those guys, see, he didn't mention any names, but
Yeah.
those dudes, and I'm guessing it's a lot of I'm guessing it's a lot of these guys who do this shit, but it's those guys who look at their phone and they see some chick DMing them, telling them to fly them out. Those are the guys who need to be worried when their girl goes to an Usher show. Because look at how you're choosing your women. Okay, these women are business people, and their business is sleeping with and getting in a relationship with guys like you. But you're treating them like they're your girlfriend. Your naivete in that regard is the reason why you deal with women problems. You're choosing the wrong chicks. So yeah, if you are doing that kind of stuff, you need to be worried if she decides, oh, I want to go to an Usher show in Vegas, while you on a 6 game road trip on the West Coast and you ain't finna be home. You ain't gonna be home for a couple weeks because y'all on a West Coast road trip. You play for the Knicks and the Lake. You play for the Knicks or the Celtics or the Sixers or the Heat, Tyler Hero.
Hey.
And you going out west for a road trip that's gonna keep you on the road for the next 10 days, and your girl want to go to an Usher show. How did you meet this girl? Oh, she DM'd me on Instagram. She's an Instagram model. Okay, well if that's how you choose your women, sir, then yeah, you ought to be concerned if your girl decides that she wants to go see an Usher show in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's kind of how I look at that. These women are not solid. They are opportunistic business people who are in the business of sex with men who make a lot of money. And the easiest access to that, for whatever reason, we can speculate, is NBA players and NFL players. So he's speaking to something that's actually going on. I believe him 1000%. Not that this is a secret. We know this ain't no secret, right? But that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So if you subscribe to that kind of lifestyle, yeah, you ought to be the one who's concerned, because really your girl is just being rented by you. You're borrowing her for now, and whoever is willing to pay a higher premium can just assume your previous tab and relieve you of your duties.
Yep. And I was surprised to hear this, honestly, because I remember hearing, these stories. I didn't watch The Last Dance. Oh, tisk. Well, I didn't watch it, but I still always heard stories about ladies showing up to the Bulls facility, the hotels and stuff like that. I heard that. I kind of thought that those days were kind of over. I mean, I knew it happened, but I figured that the all the traps were taking place online. But to see that there's still workers willing to put in the groundwork to show up at these venues just shows their level of dedication to their craft.
Commitment.
Yeah, it's heavy commitment. It's they're working on their left hand dribble while dodging cones, catching a tennis ball, throwing it back. They're working on their game, guys. And you think that this is just a regular post? No, that's her working on her drills. Okay, so she's working on trying to catch somebody in this net. Right. So she knows that her eggs are fertile. They're ready to go. She probably hitting you up when she's ovulating. Oh, yes, fellas. They do that too. They keep track of their cycles. And I'm pretty sure these women, because if they're really doing their X's and O's, let's be honest, they're tracking that too. All right. So you really have to look at them, as you mentioned, as the professionals they are. They don't see you. They see an opponent. All right. You are something to be conquered, not something to be loved by these types of women. All right. So when I call these types of women whores, because, well, that's what they are, I'm not talking about all women, because not all women are hopping flights to Minnesota so they can catch the Timberwolves or the Phoenix Suns when they came to visit. All right. That's not what you're doing. Okay. That's what these whores do. All right. And so they're really selling their vagina for a living. I think that's the qualification. So,
Yes.
so when we look at these situations here, I hold no punches with this stuff. I'm gonna just call a spade a spade. And honestly, I think we all need to call these spades the spades that they are, and stop buying into the delusion, especially fellas. All right, because I understand, for somewhat in women's psyche, they love to enable each other, they love to coddle each other, and they love to live in this little delusional bubble. That's cool. But for the fellas, I really would like to emphasize, these types of spirited women. And they're not just after athletes. All right. So these types of spirited women show up at your jobs. All right. If you the man at the job, trust and believe there's somebody in the lower tier, bro. So put it this way. If you the man on the Memphis Grizzlies, you the man on the Memphis Grizzlies. All right. Then you're going to get the woman who thinks she can get you and all this other stuff and put in that work. She's going to come holler at you while you're in another city. All right. But as above, so below. All right, as it is in a macro, so it is in a micro. All right. So just because that's going on with a star player from Memphis, you're the star player at your job. And there's probably some young lady in there that's looking at you the same type of come up. So this doesn't just happen to star athletes, fellas. All right, whores are in all economic classes. All right. So we really have to look at the types of characters, as you say, right? What you just said in the last topic of, how are you choosing? What are you choosing? All right. Did you like her because she's a little ratchet and she dancing to Suki Hana and Sexy Red? And you like a little ratchet in your life? You just signed up for it, big dog. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the next six months to 6 years in misery. All right. Because you just chose that. All right. So you just have to be mindful. These athletes have to be mindful. I contribute a lot of this to, as you mentioned, all right, socioeconomic stuff. And I also contribute a lot of this stuff to youth, as we tackled before. I really think that these young people did not grow up cutting their teeth the same way we cut our teeth. And they're a little bit more vulnerable than the previous generations. And that's why these 30-something-year-old women are vulturing on the mellow balls, the whoever that's in the NBA now, because they're sinking their teeth in these guys who are not mature enough to understand that she's treating you as an opponent, not a lover. So this was great insight from Jalen. He's a little unique. He's a unique young man. So yeah. I'm not surprised that he's the one that's actually explaining this. I think more athletes need to. I mean, it's not like they don't get their orientations. So it is what it is. They already get the talks from the old heads. They're just choosing not to listen. And I think they're choosing not to listen is because they're incapable due to the lack of not having the right kind of training coming up. And so since they're so vulnerable, since they're so open, they're ready for the taking. Flies don't show up to shit, for no reason, man. And so these women are flying around because they know that these niggas, excuse my French, I'm getting all that, because they know these dudes is not ready. So be mindful, fellas. All right, this is not just happening to ball players. This can happen to you in your everyday world, man. So pay attention, man, and choose wisely. Choose wisely.
Yeah, I hear that for sure. Young men have always been subject to poor decisions when it comes to women. That's nothing new. But I think what's different about it now is the phones. There's such easy access to visuals and content and messaging directly through mainly these social media apps that it exacerbates the vulnerability of the decision making of a young man. And so that's why I think it's gotten worse, in my opinion, in terms of these guys getting exploited outright by these chicks.
Yep.
So yeah, y'all dudes need to stop thinking that these Instagram models and these porn chicks and these OnlyFans chicks are the move. They're not. I keep trying to tell y'all dudes, man, it's women in your city who look just as good as them, but they carry themselves a different kind of way because they don't put their lives in the on Front Street. And they're, frankly, as you put it, not sex workers. But yeah, there's a sizable, just like there's a sizable percentage of women who are these opportunistic business people, there's unfortunately a sizable percentage of men who just choose poorly. And they just, we have gone into this new era of American culture where dating sex workers is like an acceptable form of behavior, and it's just goofy. It's just weird. It's weird.
She belongs to the streets.
And trust and believe, you don't have to be a legal sex worker to be a sex worker. Okay. So don't think I'm talking about chicks who work on corners or who work for an escort service. I'm talking about y'all women out here who are sex workers, and you know who you
are. and by the way, for all of my lovely ladies out there who are the water to the oil, all right, shouts out to y'all. Keep it in the pants. Keep it trill. Let these Suki Hanas and Sexy Reds spread their what you call that, vaginosis to other people, man. Let them have that
shit. You forgot to add the word stenosis. Let them spread their vaginal stenosis to other people, because that's what they got.